All right, continuing the a better NFL top 100, which again is more of a attempt to make a better NFL top 100 than it's stating that as though it's a fact. But yeah, if you haven't seen these before, not taking positional value into account, it's been a fun list so far, and let's just get into it. Starting off with number 70, I went Jordan Love with my pick for number 70, which again, if I'm taking positional value into account, there's not more than 69 guys I'd rather have on my team than Love, but not taking positional value into account, he still had a really good year last year, and it's interesting because I do think it's fair to say that like he was significantly better the back half of last year than the beginning of last year, and I think a lot of people say, well, he's a young player, finally got the handle on how things work, and the second half of last year, that's who he is. There's a good chance that's what happens. I just don't know. Like, it is possible that part of what he is more inconsistent. It's hard to say for sure, but even with his inconsistencies last year, was still a really good quarterback, and I'm assuming is going to improve. So I think that 70 feels fair for Love. 69 is Kobe Turner, who I actually drafted Kobe Turner in my Orlando Ostriches create a team situation. That kind of worked out that way. I kind of just liked his analytics and said, okay, I'll draft him. Didn't put too much, pay too much attention towards it. But the Rams drafted him. I'm assuming paid more attention in the third round. And he was one of those guys that midway through last year, people started to bring up hey, check out Kobe Turner. Look at his numbers. Look at what's going on. And I was kind of like, okay, yeah, this happens all the time, right? A mid-round pick ends up getting a good amount of sack totals, and then people think that they're good. But then I started watching his film, and I'm like, no, this guy's actually good. And his underlying numbers are really good. He's just a good player. So yeah, Kobe Turner, 69 on the list, and could potentially climb up the rankings as it goes along. Number 68 is Mike Evans, which I'll acknowledge could be a potential homer pick by me putting him this high on the list. I think some people might not put him on the list altogether. I can kind of understand it, but for me, why I'm still high on Mike Evans and why I think he belongs on the list is he changes the game for when he's out there. You cannot leave him one-on-one or you're going to be in trouble. If you double him, you can kind of take him out of the play, and that's maybe why people might not have him on their list or have him as highly. But even when you double him, he still finds ways to get some yards. He's still getting his 1,000 yards every year, despite the fact that teams know he is the offense for Tampa Bay. So because of that, there's so much good with him. I'm putting him here at 68. 67 is the defensive tackle for the Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Carter, who again, really good underlying numbers, really good regular numbers. While I did campaign for Kobe Turner to win Defensive Rookie of the Year last year, part of that was a snap count thing. But I just think Carter has more room to grow on top of it. So I'm expecting Carter to have a better 2024 season, which is saying something because he had a great year last year. Him, kind of the opposite of Jordan Love, though. Came into the league and just was awesome right away. As the season went along, maybe it's just an endurance thing. You got to get more endurance. Used to the NFL seasons, although Georgia basically played NFL length seasons, so maybe not. But definitely I thought that his play went from dominant early on to really good later on in the year. So we'll see if he can get back to that dominant side of things next year. But yeah, 67 on the list. 66 is Tyler Smith, who it's kind of interesting with him. I mean, he's played guard and tackle. He's versatile and can still play really good at either of those positions. In fact, 66 you could argue is a bit of a bit low for the offensive lineman for the Dallas Cowboys. I still think that there's enough good there. Basically, the reason why I don't have him higher is I just think there's better players. But he's consistently been a really good offensive lineman for Dallas, so I have him at 66. And 65, I'm going another offensive lineman for Dallas. Another guy who actually has played both guard and tackle, although is most known for being a guard, Zach Martin, who has had some injury stuff, and that's kind of what knocks him down a peg a little bit. But what he brings to the table in terms of just when he's on the field, being one of the best offensive linemen in football, when healthy, that's why I have him at 65. 64, I went DJ Reader, the longtime Cincinnati Bengals really run-stuffing interior defensive lineman who also helps to rush the passer, recently just signed, honestly, a modest deal with the Detroit Lions. I think that they got a bit of a steal for someone like DJ Reader and what he brings to the table, especially with, teams love to throw money at run-stuffing interior defensive linemen. I'm surprised that a really good one didn't get as much money as I thought he deserved, but also, like I said, really helps out in the pass rush game as well. So the Lions, who already had a good run defense last year, should be even better this next season. 63 is Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts makes the list at 63, a guy who I could see some people saying maybe doesn't belong on the list after last season. I didn't think he was as good last year as he was 2 years ago, but also, I think it kind of made sense. I mean, he basically had to play hero ball a lot of times. Like that Tampa Bay game, there was not much he could do whatsoever. Granted, you could easily make the counter argument that 2 years ago, he was in a great situation where he didn't have to do a lot, but I still thought he showed a lot of real great stuff 2 years ago. He's a bit of a difficult guy to place on the list, which is why I have him kind of in the middle of the list a little bit, as someone who definitely, his upside is there, but we do have to see it a little bit more at this point, so that's why he's 63. Number 62 is DeForest Buckner, who, he was with the 49ers for a while, went to a Super Bowl with the 49ers, and then they traded him away for a first-round pick. So you kind of understood what the 49ers were doing, saying, let's see if we can try to replace him with Javon Kinlaw and with some cap space, and maybe, you kind of the thing you have to do sometimes. But the Colts have clearly won that trade. I mean, Kinlaw hasn't fully worked out, and sure, you have to pay Buckner, but he's been worth every penny for them. He's a great pass-rushing interior defensive lineman who actually can stop the run as well. So, really good player and definitely belongs on this list. And finally, for this video, 61 is Taylor Decker, the tackle for the Detroit Lions, the left tackle for them. He will not be the only tackle that makes this list for the Lions. We'll get more on that as we go. But yeah, again, really consistent tackle, been a very good player for them for quite some time now, so definitely deserves a spot on the list. Those are picks 70 through 61. Let me know in the comments below. What do you think? Who do you agree with on this list? Who do you disagree with on this list? Let's get the discussion going. But yeah, like to know what you think. Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.